A little aside as we get going on this one. Today, my wife went grocery shopping and she brought back milk, eggs, and toilet paper. I felt a little bit like Noah on the ark when I received them, just as he had the dove bring the olive branch, and Noah said, "The waters must be receding." Well, for me, I was saying, the supply chain must be working again. Well, on a more somber note, as cities lock down and sheltering in place becomes commonplace, we can feel not only cabin fever, but feel helpless. Our questions might be like, what can I do to help the situation other than by staying home to protect myself and protect others? How can I connect to others? How can I inspire others? As Christians, we're guided by the encouragement of Jesus, who told God's people, "You are the salt of the earth and the light of the world." What does that mean in the midst of this COVID-19 isolation? Today, I want to talk about how we can be salt of the earth, and in tomorrow's video, I'll talk about how we can be the light of the world. I created Reboot Camp to inspire our faith during this time of isolation and prepare us for entering the world again. Along the way, I've changed my intended topics to adapt to the changing conditions of the COVID-19 pandemic. Cecil Taylor Ministries is focused on teaching Christians how to live a practical 7-day faith. So, in each Reboot Camp, I will state a faith problem and recommend a remedy and how to put it into practice. This is number 8 of the 12-part series. You know what's the same old problem as always when it comes to the COVID-19 pandemic? That it's a problem that seems too big for us to solve or impact. It's always been that way. Consider the last decade alone. We started with a global financial crisis that had carried over from the prior decade. Then we had terrorism at home and abroad. We had shootings by police, shootings of police, polarization that ripped our country into fragments rather than being united. And we had some of the worst hurricanes that we've ever seen. All of this reminds us in a small way of the sacrifice and rationing and lifestyle changes that took place for our ancestors during World War II. Billy Joel sang the song, "We didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world was turning." And now we're faced with another fire, the COVID-19 pandemic. How can we as Christians respond and lead in situations like this that just seem awfully big? Jesus said, "You are the salt of the earth." In his day, salt had 3 uses. It was a purifier. Its pure white color was part of the Jewish sacrificial offering. It was a preservative. It kept food from going bad. And of course, it added flavor. On Top Chef, one of my favorite shows, I learned that salt enhances flavor, brings out the flavor in other foods. What does it mean then to be salt? Well, first we have to think of purity, leading a pure life in an impure world. We're supposed to be in the world, not of the world. We preserve things, hope, faith, relationships. Let's take care of others during this time. Preserve the people of the church. Preserve those in need. Preserve as much stability and consistency as possible. And lend flavor. Lead joyful lives as much as possible. Bring out the flavor of life and bring out the flavor in other people. Happiness, as you know, is connected to happening. Part of the word happening, happiness. But joy has to do with connection to God and his eternal reign. Let's be joyful in every circumstance. So, in every circumstance, in this COVID-19 pandemic, we are to be salt. Individually, we may not be able to solve the problems that are big like this. In fact, together, we might not even be able to solve the problems. But Jesus didn't say, "You are the problem solvers of the earth." He said, "You are the salt of the earth." So what does it look like to be salt in practical daily living in the midst of crisis? Through purity, preservation, and flavor. Be as pure as you can be. Preserve faith, hope, and love. And add flavor to life by bringing joy and by bringing out the flavor in others.